Yo yo yo, hey guys, it's me, Fusion What Ifs, and today we're doing What If Naruto Was a Dragon? Seeing as this is my New Year special, as it's gonna be, most of you guys are probably gonna see this one, but I believe my other one should be coming up before this one, that being What If Deku Was Santa, which I'm literally recorded like before this, like not even a minute before this. So yeah, hope you guys watched that one too. Explain a lot of why I haven't been recording. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'll put it in the top right so you guys can go watch it or something after you guys are done. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's gonna be a bit shorter than my usual videos, probably like 15 minutes long. But I hope you guys still enjoy it. Try to get this out so that you guys can have like like during New Year's, or like during the New Year's countdown. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. And without further ado, play my intro. Alright, now that's another strain to it. Naruto would end up being born the same exact way with blonde hair and red eyes. Wait, if I said red eyes, my fault. Blue eyes, right? I'm been out of bed and you guys might be seeing I'm panting. That's because I'm on a timer to get this video done in less than probably 15 minutes, maybe. It really just depends. But yeah. So anyways, Izuku, I said Izuku, that is the Santa video. But Naruto would end up being born the same way like I said before. Oh my god, you guys see I'm out of it. But yeah, I hope you guys had a little laugh from that. Naruto would be kidnapped like he was in canon. Morita would save him. Kushina would then end up being the Naito's, getting Naito distracted out of her. Yada yada yada. End of story. Naito would end up still being sealed in Naruto. And Minato would still end up dead. Obito would still end up escaping, and Kushina would still end up dying too. Naruto would once again be an orphan by himself, and it wouldn't be any better. It'd go the exact same with him being an orphan till he was like 5, and then him getting his own apartment by himself, with Hokage pretty much giving him rent money and food money to a child who doesn't even know how to cook. So, isn't that eventful? And kind of sad actually, but he would end up growing to be a really attention-seeking kid, right? And that would be a large part of his personality, right? As we see with the regular Naruto, right? He would be over-eccentric and he would just be a joyful person, right? But he would want attention. He would want that family, something that only he can have. Well, not only he can have, but something that he could also enjoy in, right? This would be how he'd end up actually going into this one cave, as it ended up being called the Cave of the Dragon. This cave would be near the outskirts of Konoha, right? And surprisingly enough, Naruto would end up being able to go there, and that's where he would actually end up walking into. As he walked into this cave, he would see multiple murals, right? Some of them of people worshipping a dragon, other ones of the dragon appearing once every sometime a year, and another one of just people becoming the dragon itself. It would seem all interesting to Naruto, right? And as he got closer to the center of the cave, he would end up seeing what would be a small hole, right? It would be kid size, and only a child could end up fitting through, right? So Naruto, not wanting to end his journey just there with nothing in hand, would end up going through that hole, and he would end up coming out the other side, and there he would see what would be an orb, right? It would be an orb that seemed to contain a small dragon that would just seem to fly around inside of it. It would be blue in color, and Naruto wouldn't really know what to do with it. He would be intrigued, fascinated. It looked so beautiful, so pure. It would fascinate him, for lack of a better word. As he would move closer, he'd start hearing multiple voices telling him, "Take the power. You could do anything you ever wanted to. You could be anything you ever wanted to. Just grab the orb." And this is when Naruto would end up just doing that. He would end up picking up the orb, and then suddenly he'd end up being filled with this instinctual I guess, instinct of just wanting to destroy, of just wanting to use this immense power that he had just gotten his hands off, right? But then he ended up remembering the shitty third Hokage and the Wall of Fire, right? With this alone, for some reason, Naruto would actually end up being able to control this power, and it would assimilate with him, right? The orb would sink into his body, and then he'd end up becoming physically stronger. As you look into a pool of water that was there as he would wake up from after fainting, after absorbing power, I said after a lot in that sentence, but he would end up with scales on his arms, right? Blue scales, barely noticeable, but still there, right? His canines would have gone sharper, and his eyes would have become slits, right? He would seem to be growing horns on the top of his head, and he would feel a small bump protruding from his, bum, for lack of a better word. Or, well, I guess, his back, his lower back, that being a tail, right? It would be small in stature, sort of like him right now, and he would honestly just be having fun with it, right? Izuku could feel that there was sorry, I said Izuku, didn't I? Naruto could feel like he was the top of the world, right? That he was the very best. The power would be so intoxicating, but he wouldn't really care about that. He would just want to flaunt it. After he would exit the cave, or through the same hole he went through, he would try punching the wall he actually went through, so that he could get out. He could see if he could get through it, right? The wall wouldn't even get a dent in it, right? Just because the wall itself would be, I'm gonna say, like six paths level stuff, right? Like he can't even begin to dent it, right? And with that hit alone, he would have actually cracked the cave around it. So the cave would actually start to collapse on itself, and Naruto would then have to quickly run out and then leave. As he would do this, he would end up undoing his transformation purely by accident, and he would go into the village, right? He goes directly to the third Hokage and say, Grandpa Hokage, look, I can turn into a dragon. As you know, he would then try to do it again, but he just couldn't. Hokage would just sigh and be like, Naruto, you can't turn into a dragon, let's all be honest now. And he would then start to do his work again. Naruto would be sad that, his idol didn't believe that he could do it, and he would be sort of depressed by that. But he wouldn't take it too bad to heart, right? But he's his only friend. After this, we would have Naruto. He would end up going back home and starting to try to train it, right? He would try everything, and for approximately 2 months, he couldn't even begin to tap into power again. Eventually, he ended up trying meditation, right? And with this alone, he would end up becoming a lot better at just controlling his natural chakra. And then he would end up finding another source besides, inside of, his chakra coils. This being the energy that the dragon gave him, or the dragon orb gave him, right? With this, he would be able to feel a transformation begin to occur, right? He could invoke its power, and it would take his chakra for the fact of becoming physically stronger, right? So he can make the scales appear and everything like that, right? But after he would do this, he wouldn't actually want to tell anybody, right? He would just keep on practicing with this, and he would actually become much stronger. With the power of the dragon, it actually gave him quite a lot of wisdom as it, became one with him. So he'd end up reading more books, he'd end up being better at school, and eventually he wouldn't be dead last. He would actually be in top 2, with him and Sasuke always one of each other per second in different categories, right? And he would actually find the Uchiha as a good friend, a good rival, and Uchiha would actually do the same for him, even though the Uchiha massacre would have already happened by now, and he would all be broody and all of that because he had to be a revenger. But he would still find Naruto as a good friend. With this, Naruto would end up going with him and end up sparring a lot, becoming really good friends, actually, being the only person the last Uchiha would ever really talk to on his own concession. With this, Sasuke would have eventually actually unlocked his Sharingan, and Naruto would have actually told Sasuke about his powers, right? With this, Naruto would have gained better control over it, and he could invoke even more dragon power, right? His skills now become more noticeable, becoming a shade of royal blue, right? And it would also start to come around his eyes as well. His horns would grow more noticeable, and his tail would be much longer, almost half a meter in length, right? And then he'd end up getting claws on his hands and on his feet. And he would actually gain some sort of fur on the side coatings of his arms, right, on his forearms, and he'd just be stronger in general, right? And Sasuke couldn't match him in physical strength, so he'd end up searching and the Uchiha library and end up learning a lot of other jutsu, stronger jutsu, right? And they'd end up just sparring, as they would figure out that Naruto just had like a natural resistance to just most jutsu, especially fire, right? And he would then end up asking Sasuke how he does jutsu, and Sasuke would then end up showing him some chocolate paper, right? Naruto would then end up using it, and he would end up actually gaining wind like he did in canon, and surprisingly enough, lightning and fire. With this, Naruto would then try to see if he could use lightning and fire jutsu, right? And it just came naturally to him with the wisdom of the dragon, and he could do some low jutsu without even having to weave hand signs. Hell, with the fire jutsu, which was debatably enough his strongest nature, right beside wind, he could breathe fire without weaving any hand signs, control it, and do what could be similar to a phoenix flower jutsu, the great majestic flame destroyer, on a much smaller scale though, and the great fireball jutsu. This would make Sasuke kind of jealous, but Sasuke, by actually looking at Naruto's chakra paths as he does this, will sort of end up getting an epiphany on how fire style works, right? Becoming much more natural for him, and him being able to use fire style ninjutsu and actually some lightning style ninjutsu with just only one hand sign. Eventually, Sasuke's Sharingan would end up getting two Tomoe in both eyes, and let's just say that right now Sasuke and Naruto are stacked. Sasuke would end up taking Kenjutsu, while Naruto would just be brawling like it was in canon. And this would all be before they would do the getting the exam, right, to pass. So after they all did that, Naruto would still end up being called by Mizuki to actually steal the scroll of sealing. And before I forget to mention this, yes, Naruto did pass the test, transformation jutsu, substitution, and actually shadow clone this time, because I'm gonna say that was in the Uchiha library, and Sasuke just wanted to show it to him, right? Because he knew that Naruto didn't had too much chakra to do just regular clone jutsu, right? So now we would have Naruto, who is insanely stacked with the dragon power, having to fight Mizuki. And Mizuki would end up being completely washed, right? Because Naruto would end up making a bunch of clones that he did in canon, and they could all use a small fraction of the dragon power, which wouldn't cause them to transform, but their nails would grow sharper and they would become much stronger, right? I forgot to mention, but the way that the dragon power pretty much works is sort of like a mini tailed beast inside his body, and let's just say that slowly but surely, the Nine Tails and the dragon power itself are sort of like fusing together, right? So the Nine Tails itself is becoming much stronger than it was in canon, and this is for preparation of if I do this or continue the series up until Boruto, right? So yeah, after this, you end up bringing Mizuki into Hiruzen, and he would be like, okay, it's alright that he died. Naruto would end up having his first kill, and he would be quite saddened by it actually, but he would look past it, right? Because that's what it means to be a ninja. But that doesn't mean he's gonna like killing, and that doesn't mean he's gonna kill unless he has to, right? He's only gonna kill when it's necessary, and he's gonna keep it like that for the rest of the world. He wants to bring world peace like he said he was going to do in canon, but this time it would be much earlier, even before the Zabuza fight, right? So finally, he ended up going back to school the next day, sitting beside Sasuke, and annoyingly enough, Sakura. Because in this one, he doesn't actually like Sakura. He'd find her quite annoying due to the dragon's wisdom, giving her a high level of maturity, and he would actually end up sort of liking Hinata more. As you guys mainly know, for most Naruto what ifs, my ship is usually Naruto x Hinata. I make it different sometimes, but that's only really sometimes. So yeah. Finally, they end up getting called on teams. This is when Iruka would then say Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha to look at each other, and then they do this like fist bump, and then finally enough, Sakura Haruno. That's it, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. This has been What If Deku. What was it again? What if Deku was a dragon, more specifically a blue dragon with immense power? It's supposed to be my New Year special. It's extremely rushed, the video and the story itself isn't really in-depth, and it's mostly just surface level stuff, but I'm on a short timer, and I hope you guys find it somewhere in your hearts to have actually enjoyed this video, and that's all I have to say. Stay cold, stay frosted, and peace out. Finally, have a happy New Year's.